Good morning. I wanted to explain to you what you were going to be doing today because we didn't really get a chance to go over the difference between motivation and development and how that affects the character analysis that I want you to do. So I wanted to explain briefly. First of all, as usual, you're going to go into your journal prompt and answer who your favorite character is and why, of course, and then which character do you like the least. So I'm looking for the characters at both ends of that for you. And there's no right or wrong as long as you can answer the question and justify your choice. Then you're going to go into the characterization link. And this is a quizzes. You can take this at your own pace. There's only 10 questions. And the point of taking the quizzes is to review the vocabulary that all of you did as part of the word wall that I still have to get up because I haven't been able to stay after school. But these are the words that you did on those posters. So those, you have to do that next. And then the last thing I'm asking you to do is to go into this Google document and I want you to analyze one of three characters. You have your choice between the daughter in law, the father in law, or the Mandarin. And the reason I've limited you to those three choices is because those are the three characters that tend to evolve the most in the story. And I wanted to explain to you the difference between motivation and development because they are related, but they're at different ends of a character's. Really, it's wrapped around their behavior. All right. So motivation is why a character does something. It's the reason, the thinking, their priorities, whatever it is. It's what causes them to behave in a certain way. And then development is the result of that behavior and how they change with that. So let's take an example that's not related to the story. Suppose somebody has a ski accident. Well, what caused them to have that ski accident? Were they inexperienced and so they couldn't ski well? Were they trying a new trick because they're very good at skiing and they wanted to get better or they wanted to try something unique? Was somebody skiing around them and startled them? Did something jump out at them? Did the ice change? So there's all these different reasons that this particular accident could happen. And they're all different. They all tell you something about the person as a skier before the accident. So that's kind of their motivation. The development then is what do they do because of that? So, maybe they learn the trick. Maybe they keep practicing, and even though they have accidents, they learn how to do the jump or the whatever. Maybe they get spooked and they decide they're never going to ski again. Maybe they decide they need lessons and they have to go, or maybe they decide they're never going to go when there's a possibility that the weather can change. So they, as a character, have developed in some way because they've learned something from this experience. And so we have the motivation and then we have the development. Let's take another example. In this particular picture, you can read anything into this picture that you want to, but there's a situation, there's something that came in on that phone that person is reading. All right. And how they respond to that is about who they are. So if that message comes in and it says something that makes them sad, makes them angry, makes them shut down, maybe they just don't, they stop. They don't think, they don't feel, they don't allow themselves to do anything. That is a motivation. And then how they're going to behave from that becomes how they respond to that, and what they become from there is their development. So suppose they get angry and then they get into a fight with somebody and they get in trouble for getting into a fight with somebody, but that behavior all develops that character along a line based on their original motivation in response to whatever's on that phone. Maybe they get that message and then they pass it on. And then that creates a whole chain of events. And I know we've all experienced that, where you get something and then you say something to someone else, maybe sometimes before you even really think out what you want to say, and then it blows up and a lot of people get upset or hurt, or you've been in that chain where somebody has sent you something and then later on they apologized because they didn't really mean to say it, but it's been said. So that becomes the motivation, why a character does something, what causes a character to behave in a certain way. And then the development is how they change or they grow based on that particular action. All right. So back to our story. So you're going to put in your name and you're going to put in the character that you choose to do. Again, you have 3 choices. You can either do the father-in-law, you can do the daughter-in-law, or you can do the Mandarin. Those are your choices. So whichever one you choose to do, you're going to write down in this space. And then you're going to describe that character based on the story. So you have to go into your story, and in the beginning, you're going to describe what that character is like. And you have to show that based on evidence from the story. So yes, you need to provide a quote from the story and the page number. You don't have to do anything else in terms of citation because it's all coming from the same story. But how do you know that characters like that? Think about your direct and your indirect characterization. The story and the author may say directly that somebody is angry, or somebody is jealous, or somebody is trying to deceive. That's direct characterization when the author comes right out and tells you what those characteristics are. But maybe you get indirect characterization. Well, he posed a riddle for her because, not because, that would probably lead into direct characterization. He posed a riddle thinking she couldn't solve it. So he's being a little deceitful and devious, right? So we know that that's his character, even though the story doesn't tell us that. We know by the actions. And we talked about that. There's a lot of that in the story. So I want you to, from your character, give me 2 statements and include some evidence as to why you believe that that's character's personality is like that. And then you're going to put in some notes down here. So in the story itself, what motivates the character to think or act in a certain way, and you have to choose 3 places in the story where that character has made a decision or behaved in a certain way, and how did the character change or evolve as a result of behaving in that way. So you're really going to want to look at those spaces where characters interact, because those are where characters are going to have behavior that's going to reveal something about their personality. And that's why that interaction is so important. That was another one of the words that we used, is that how a character responds to another character will tell you something about their personality. So I want you to find 3 of those in the story. And then at the end of the story, do the same thing that you did up here. You're going to tell 2 personality traits about the character, and then how do you know that when you get to the end of the story? Do your best with it. I know we didn't talk a lot about it, but we certainly have discussed it, and I think we've gone over the story enough that you can at least get some information out of it. I want to see how well you do with that. And then we'll talk about it when I come back tomorrow, and we'll do one more read through the story. Good luck. I know you'll do well.